They say knowledge is power, right? But here's the thing no one ever told you. Knowledge about you is power over you. Read that again. Because the truth is, the more people know about you, the more they can use it. You think being open means being authentic. But in this world, oversharing is a weakness dressed up as vulnerability. People aren't always listening to understand. Some are listening to gather intel. Some are smiling at your face, while calculating in their head how to twist your words later. Crazy, huh? But real. So I'm telling you now, guard your story, guard your pain, guard your peace. Because once it's out there, you can't take it back. You ever wonder why the most powerful people in the room often say the least? It's not a coincidence, it's a strategy. They don't talk just to talk. They don't post every thought online. They don't tell you their every move before they make it. Why? Because silence protects you. Silence creates mystery. And mystery? That's power. When people don't know what you're thinking, what you're planning, or what's hurting you, they can't interfere, manipulate, or control it. It's not cold, it's smart. Keep them guessing. That's how you stay 10 steps ahead. Let me say something bold. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your silence. You don't have to justify your privacy. In fact, people who demand to know everything about you are the ones you need to worry about the most. Because if they were truly safe, they wouldn't pressure you for access. They'd respect your boundaries. But if someone gets irritated when you don't overshare, that's a red flag, my friend. Because what they really want is power over your peace. And your job is to make sure they never get that power. Let's talk about how this starts. It starts small. You're just being real. Telling someone about your fears, your dreams, your past. It feels good, right? Like connection. But then days go by and you start to feel exposed. You start noticing shifts, the energy changes. Suddenly they're quoting your words back to you in moments of conflict. They're using your past as ammo in an argument. Or worse, they're gossiping about your pain like it's entertainment. And you're left thinking, why did I ever tell them that? It's the cost of being too open with the wrong people. And sometimes it's not even about malice. It's about mismanagement. People mishandle what you give them. You tell someone your fears and now they're tiptoeing around you like you're fragile. You tell them about a mistake and now they never let you forget it. You vent in a weak moment and now your strength is questioned. Isn't that wild? How one vulnerable moment can redefine you in someone's eyes. That's why you must be intentional about what you share and with whom. Not every listening ear is a safe place. Protect your narrative. Privacy is not secrecy. Don't confuse the two. Secrecy hides shame. Privacy protects peace. One is based in fear, the other in wisdom. Choosing to keep your business to yourself doesn't mean you're being fake. It means you're being selective. And that's powerful because here's what no one tells you. People can't ruin what they don't know about. They can't sabotage a plan they've never heard. They can't weaponize emotions you've never shown. So next time you feel the urge to spill it all, pause. Ask yourself, do they need to know, or do I just need to be heard? The truth is, most people don't want to know you. They want to know about you. Big difference. Knowing someone means loving them through their mess, their moods, their madness. But knowing about someone, that's just information. That's just data. That's just curiosity. And curiosity isn't loyalty. Curiosity won't protect you. So the moment someone's questions start feeling more invasive than sincere, pull back. You're not being rude, you're being wise. Not everyone who smiles is safe. Not everyone who asks deserves an answer. You ever notice how quiet people make people uncomfortable? Why is that? It's because silence makes people confront their own assumptions. They can't label you, they can't box you in, they can't predict your next move, and that drives them crazy. But it protects you. Because when they can't figure you out, they can't plan against you. That silence, it's your shield. Let them wonder, let them guess. That tension you feel when people don't get you. That's not a flaw. It's your power growing. Lean into it. Now listen, I'm not saying never trust anyone. I'm saying build trust slowly. Test it. Observe. Don't rush to share your wounds with someone just because they seem kind. Let time do the talking. Let consistency prove character. Because betrayal always comes from someone close, not a stranger. Let that sink in. The deepest cuts come from the ones who knew where to strike. And how did they know? You told them. You showed them. That's why you must move wisely, not fearfully. You can be warm and guarded at the same time. You can be kind and cautious. So here's your takeaway. Not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. You don't need to be an open book to be genuine. You can be authentic without being exposed. You can shine without spilling. Let people see your confidence, not your confusion. Let them witness your growth, not your grief. Speak less, move more. Let your actions echo louder than your confessions, because at the end of the day, mystery protects your peace, and silence secures your strength. Don't just exist out loud, exist wisely. And whatever you do, don't let people know too much about you. You ever had someone use your honesty against you? Like you opened up to them during a weak moment thinking they'd understand, and then later, boom. They throw your own words back at you like weapons? It stings, doesn't it? That pain, that betrayal, it teaches you something deeper than any book or quote ever could. It teaches you that not everyone who listens loves you. Some just collect your truths for later use. Some smile while they're taking notes. That's why your silence is sacred. Your story isn't for sport, it's for safety. And safety starts with discretion. You gotta understand something about people. Curiosity isn't connection. People love to know, but they don't always want to carry. They'll ask you about your trauma, but disappear when your healing takes time. They'll say, I'm here for you, until it gets messy. Until it requires empathy. Until it's no longer interesting. And when that happens, you realize something. People aren't always who they pretend to be. That's why your privacy matters. It protects you from those who only want access, not alliance. Let them wonder. Let them assume. But don't let them in. The fewer people know about you, the more control you have over your life. Yes, read that again. Because once you give someone information, you can't control what they do with it. You can't unsay it. You can't unshare it. And no matter how safe someone seems, everyone has a moment of weakness or an audience. Ever had someone you trusted say, I only told one person, that's all it takes. One person, one retelling, one moment. And suddenly your private life is public knowledge. Choose silence before you choose regret. Silence never needs damage control. And let's be honest, some people only want to know your problems so they can feel better about theirs. It's not compassion, it's comparison. They ask about your struggles so they can feel like they're doing better. Sick, right? But real, and you'll catch it in the little things, how they light up when you're down, how they suddenly feel superior when you confess your insecurities. That's not support, that's subtle competition, that's emotional manipulation, and the cure for that, privacy. Learn to carry your burdens quietly, not because you're alone, but because you're wise. You don't have to go quiet on the world, but go quiet on those who've proven they don't honor your truth. Think about that. Your energy isn't infinite, your stories aren't free. You paid a high price for your growth. Don't let anyone cheapen it by treating your life like gossip. If someone can't respect your silence, they don't deserve your truth. Period. You don't owe anyone access to your pain just to prove you're real. You don't need to bleed to be believed. Real recognizes real, without explanations. Stay solid, stay silent when needed. That's control. You ever notice how people start treating you differently when they learn too much? It's subtle at first. Maybe they pity you, maybe they judge you, maybe they just see you as damaged. And suddenly your identity is shaped by a moment you shared in trust. You're no longer you, you're the person who went through that. And that's dangerous, because now your growth gets overlooked, your strength gets ignored. That's what happens when people hold on to your past more than your present. You must protect your evolution. Don't let yesterday define you in someone else's mind. And let me be real with you. Some people aren't curious. They're calculating. They want to know about your failures, your weaknesses, your emotional triggers, so they can feel powerful, so they can play you. They use your openness as ammunition. They gather, store, and strike when it suits them. Narcissists thrive on oversharers. Manipulators feed on transparency. So don't give them the weapon. You want to win? Be unpredictable, be unreadable, be unbothered. That's power. Real power doesn't shout. It moves in silence and leaves impact in its wake. And what about when you level up? Suddenly, everyone wants to know how you did it. They want your blueprint, your mindset, your secrets. But here's the thing. What they really want is access to your progress without earning their own. And if you're too open, they'll steal your methods and then compete with you using your own map. That's wild, huh? But true. You become their silent mentor while they secretly root for your failure. So be quiet about your moves until they're made. Be low-key about your wins until they're undeniable. Don't let them track your steps. Just let them feel your footsteps shake the ground. Some people aren't bad, they're just careless. But even carelessness can kill your peace. You share something sacred and they laugh it off. You share a struggle and they make a joke. You pour out your heart and they say, "You're too sensitive." That's not a safe space. That's emotional erosion. And every time that happens, you lose a little more trust, a little more softness, a little more of your voice. So don't waste time teaching people how to handle you. Just stop handing yourself over. Guard your glow. Protect your soft spots. Keep your sacred things sacred. Remember, mystery doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you've chosen to reclaim your power. You're not a puzzle. They don't get to pick you apart just to feel entertained. You're not a journal. They don't get to read you every day and decide what matters. You are a soul, a mind, a whole being, not a story to be shared at their convenience. So move quietly, speak wisely, laugh fully, but protect deeply. The world doesn't need to know your every detail to feel your presence. Don't let them in too close, too fast. Keep your peace private and your power loud. You ever walk into a room and instantly feel like someone's talking about you? You can't prove it, but you feel it. That heavy silence, those quick glances, that awkward laugh. And you know deep down, it's not paranoia, it's pattern. That's what happens when you've shared too much with people who don't know how to honor it. They don't see your life as sacred. They see it as conversation. That pain you trusted them with, it became entertainment. That detail you shared in confidence, it became their did you hear about? Oh, you ever had someone say, you've changed after you stopped telling them everything? That's because access was their drug. Your openness was their control. And now that you're quiet, now that you've grown, now that you're moving in silence, they feel powerless. Let them. Let them sit in their confusion. You don't need to explain silence. You don't need to defend growth. You don't need to apologize for protecting yourself. Growth requires space. Evolution requires solitude. Don't dim your discipline for people addicted to your past. So here's the truth that might sting. People don't need to know everything about you to love you. If they demand full access just to stay in your life, that's not love. That's control. The real ones. They don't need to know every detail. They feel your energy. They respect your boundaries. They don't press, they protect. And those are the ones you keep. The rest, let them go. You're not a glass house. You're not a constant confession booth. You're allowed to hold space for yourself. You're allowed to have secrets. You're allowed to be whole and private. That's not selfish. It's survival. Oh. People often confuse silence with weakness. But silence, oh, it's a shield. It's strength dressed in stillness. Because when you're quiet, you're not lacking words. You're choosing which ones are worthy. You're not avoiding connection. You're protecting clarity. You're not hiding. You're healing. And the louder the world gets, the more your silence becomes power. In a time where everyone's trying to be seen, there's something magnetic about being unseen, unknown, untouched by public opinion. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to explain to exist. Quiet power shakes rooms. It's wild how people think knowing your pain gives them control. Like if they know your struggle, they can measure your strength. But here's the truth. They can't carry what you've carried. They didn't cry those silent tears. They didn't battle those sleepless nights. They didn't crawl through your hell just to walk into your healing. So no, they don't deserve the map. Let them see the mountain. You don't owe them the climb. You're not obligated to unwrap your soul just to prove you're real. Real doesn't need a speech. It shows up in how you move, how you rise, how you glow without explanation. You ever notice how people remember your lows more than your wins? You tell them something you struggled with, and years later, that's what sticks. Not your comeback, not your strength, not your transformation, just your pain. Why? Because some people love to see you broken. It makes them feel balanced. It gives them comfort to know you're not too far ahead. That's why you must protect your growth. Protect it with silence, with boundaries, with sacred distance. Let your healing be personal. Let your success be silent until it roars. You don't owe visibility to those who only want to watch you fall. We live in a world that encourages overexposure. Be vulnerable, they say. Speak your truth, they preach. And yes, vulnerability is powerful, but only with the right audience. A garden doesn't bloom in fire, and you don't heal in front of spectators. So don't confuse public platforms with safe spaces. Don't think likes equal love or comments equal care. Some people are only clapping because they want front row seats to your breakdown. Let that sink in. Your truth deserves safety, not spectacle. Don't put your soul on display for people who only want to watch it unravel. And let's talk about emotional discipline. Not everything you feel needs to be shared. Not every emotion needs to be explained. That urge to vent, to rant, to pour out every thought, it feels relieving at first, but it can backfire fast because words don't vanish once they're said. And when you give people your feelings, they can twist them, use them, mock them. Silence gives you the chance to sit with yourself before others sit in judgment. That's wisdom, that's maturity. Talk to yourself first. Learn to soothe yourself. That way, you're not handing out pieces of yourself in the name of relief. Even the people closest to you don't need to know every chapter of your journey. Think about it. Oversharing isn't a love language, it's a leak. Your life doesn't need to be poured out in every conversation. Hold something for yourself. Not because you don't trust them, but because you trust you. You've grown enough to realize, not everything shared brings you closer. Some things create distance, misunderstanding, judgment. So let people meet you where you are, not where you've been, not what you've survived. Let them earn your depths by proving they won't drown in them. Privacy builds peace. And peace? That's priceless. In a noisy world, the quiet ones hold the real power. They're unpredictable, untouchable. They move in silence and strike in presence. People can't sabotage what they can't see. They can't ruin what they don't know. Your moves are safest when they're made in the dark. Your plans are strongest when they're nurtured in silence. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them talk. Because while they speculate, you execute. While they assume, you ascend. And when it's time, your results will speak louder than your voice ever could. And here's the thing. Your value isn't in how much you share, it's in how much you hold. Your restraint is power. Your ability to sit in silence while the world rushes to overshare. That's strength. It means you've learned that validation isn't found in exposure, it's found in alignment. It's found in the quiet moments when you know who you are without needing to announce it. Some of the most powerful people in the world move in silence. You won't see their steps, but you'll feel their presence. Be one of them. Quiet but certain. Soft-spoken but unshakable. Invisible but unforgettable. People often ask, why are you so private? The better question is, why are you so entitled to my details? Truth is, you don't owe anyone your history. Not your friends. Not your family. Not your followers. You are allowed to live a beautiful, powerful, rich life without narrating it. Let them see the fruit, not the roots. Let them see the fire, not the ashes. You don't need to bleed in public to be real. Your silence doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you've leveled up. And at higher levels, the air is thinner, the voices are fewer, and the noise almost non-existent. So hold this truth close. You are not required to be an open book in a world full of careless readers. Your story is not free. Your truth is not for everyone. Keep some things sacred. Keep some joy unshared. Some grief unspoken. Some goals unannounced. Let your life be a quiet masterpiece in a world of loud distractions. Because when you don't let people know too much about you, you keep your power, you keep your freedom, you keep your peace. And at the end of the day, that's worth more than anyone's approval. There's something magnetic about being unreadable. You walk into a room and people feel you before they understand you. That mystery, that silence, it holds gravity. People lean in, wondering what you're thinking, what you're planning, how you stay so composed. But they'll never know, and that's the power. The more unpredictable you are, the harder you are to manipulate. The less they know, the less control they have. You don't need to perform, confess, or prove anything. Sometimes, the most powerful move is saying nothing at all and letting your presence do the speaking. You think they want your honesty, your truth, your soul. But often they want your secrets just to feel above you. They collect your confessions like trophies, not because they care, but because it gives them leverage. The moment you reveal too much, some people subtly start treating you differently, like your humanity made you less, and that's the trap. They don't want your story to connect. They want it to control.